Hi, welcome to Arkintel. China built the world's greatest growth machine on one thing: credit. But now, that machine is starting to crack. Property sales are collapsing, local governments are drowning in debt, and banks are being pushed to lend even more just to keep the system alive. Beijing is scrambling with bailouts, refinancing schemes, and state-directed takeovers, desperate to hold the system together. Yet, every fix seems to expose deeper fractures. By mid-2025, China's broadest measure of credit, total social financing, had swollen to more than 430 trillion yuan, almost 9% higher than the year before, while the economy itself grew at barely 4%. China is now borrowing at more than twice the pace it is growing. That isn't resilience, it's fragility disguised as strength. The only question is, how long before the cracks turn into a break? Not all the debt sits on bank balance sheets. A huge portion hides in the shadows: trusts, wealth management products, and off-the-books financing channels. They were once hailed as clever innovations, a way to fuel growth beyond the reach of regulators. Now, they are a source of contagion. Since 2024, at least 162 trust products worth nearly 69 billion yuan have defaulted. Almost 3/4 were tied directly to real estate. The problem isn't just size, it's opacity. Losses surface late, and when they do, they spread like wildfire. In China's shadow system, cracks in one corner quickly spread across the floor. What makes this even more dangerous is who holds these products. It's not just wealthy investors, it's households, pension funds, and local businesses who believed they were buying safe, high-yield products. When they vanish overnight, confidence collapses, and the panic doesn't stop at the shadows. It seeps into the mainstream banking system. And because shadow lenders often channel money back into property and local government financing, every default becomes a thread that unravels multiple layers of China's economy. The hidden network meant to fuel growth is now the perfect fuse for contagion. And nowhere is that fragility clearer than in property. Once China's unstoppable engine, now the heaviest anchor dragging it down. For decades, property was the foundation of China's boom. Today, it's the heaviest anchor. Since 2021, Chinese developers have defaulted on nearly $147 billion in offshore dollar bonds. Foreign investors have recovered next to nothing, just 0.6% of their claims. At home, households are bleeding too. 370,000 homes went into foreclosure auctions in 2024. Most of them in smaller cities with weaker demand and stagnant wages. Developers that once symbolized China's rise are now symbols of its fragility. Giants like Evergrande and Country Garden have seen their projects stall, leaving entire housing blocks unfinished, ghostly reminders of promises broken. What was supposed to be the ultimate store of wealth for Chinese families has turned into a trap: illiquid, unstable, and increasingly toxic. Real estate was once China's miracle. Now it is a black hole swallowing savings, bank balance sheets, and public trust. But if property is the crisis everyone can see, local government debt is the one hiding in plain sight, vast, silent, and just as dangerous. Cities and provinces that borrowed for years through local government financing vehicles, often to fund projects that never generated enough cash to repay themselves. Officially, Beijing says hidden local debt stood at 14.3 trillion yuan at the end of 2023, a mountain so large it rivals the size of entire national economies, with a plan to reduce it to just 2.3 trillion yuan by 2028 through refinancing and bond swaps. In November 2024, Beijing unveiled a 10 trillion yuan refinancing package. The goal? Swap expensive shadow debt into official bonds, stretching maturities and cutting interest costs by an estimated 600 billion yuan over 5 years. But the plan is slow to implement, and many localities still struggle to roll over their debts. The danger is that smaller banks, already fragile, are heavily exposed to LGFVs. If those vehicles can't refinance, defaults cascade into the banking system. What begins as a government debt problem can quickly morph into a financial one. Beijing knows this, which is why it has unleashed every tool it can: swaps, bailouts, and forced lending to buy time before the cracks spread further. Beijing is fighting fires on every front, but each tool comes with a cost. First, debt swaps and refinancing. Hidden local debt is being rolled into official bonds. It buys time, stretching payments over years, but the debt itself doesn't vanish. Second, housing relief. A 300 billion yuan relending facility launched in 2024 lets state firms scoop up unsold apartments and convert them into affordable housing. It clears some inventory, but the glut is so massive this barely makes a dent. Third, liquidity support. Banks have been ordered to keep lending. In June 2025 alone, they issued 2.24 trillion yuan in new loans, the sharpest spike in a year. It props up activity, but it also pushes leverage deeper into the system. Fourth, regulation. Officials are cracking down on shadow banking and warning local governments against reckless borrowing. Yet, enforcement is patchy and too often selective. The strategy is clear: delay defaults, contain panic, and keep the machine running. But every fix adds more weight to a system already straining under its own debt. Three scenarios lie ahead. First, control the grind. Beijing manages to roll over debts, state firms soak up unsold housing, and growth slows but avoids collapse. Painful but manageable. Second, localized shocks. Clusters of LGFVs default, some trust products fail, and a major developer collapse ripples into banks. Regional crises emerge, even if the national debt survives. Third, systemic freeze. Confidence breaks, defaults cascade from LGFVs to banks, to households. Credit freezes, capital flees, and Beijing faces its own Lehman moment. This is the nightmare scenario. Unlikely, but possible. The warning signs are already there: shadow bank defaults, property foreclosures, soaring hidden debt, and credit expansion that far outpaces economic growth. And that leaves us with the final question: what happens if Beijing runs out of time? China's growth miracle was built on debt. That model powered skyscrapers, highways, and entire cities. But credit can't outpace the economy forever. Beijing can buy time with swaps, bailouts, and liquidity injections. What it can't buy is an escape from the math. With credit expanding nearly twice as fast as output and trillions in hidden liabilities, the cracks are spreading. Is this China's Lehman moment? Not yet, but the risk is real, and when it hits, it won't stop with China's borders. It will ripple through the trade, supply chains, and global markets. The world's second largest economy is running on borrowed time. The only question is, does Beijing land softly, or does this hidden crisis become the spark that shakes the global economy? If you found this video insightful, make sure to check out Argentina's 100-year crisis, why it can't escape inflation. In this video, we break down Argentina's 100 economic crisis, from soaring inflation and repeated defaults to political dysfunction and the collapse of the peso, and ask whether bold reforms can finally end the cycle, or if another collapse is inevitable. Click the video to watch now.